It's a scandal, not a scam. And let me explain. My name's Carolyn Wellman. I'm known as the Contest Queen, and I have a very special guest with me. Now, this is Jason.
Hello.
You may have seen us in the past when we did Pepsi Where's My Jet.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
That was so much fun. Now, the reason I had Jason on is because he's a podcaster, he's a game show contestant, and he's also a fellow sweeper.
Yes.
Which is where I met him. And he did a fantastic speech at one of the conventions about his game show experience. So he's got a bit of knowledge on the background of these types of giveaways. Anyway, we like talking about these different things. And we were discussing Pepsi Where's My Jet? And he said, oh, we should take this live. And I said, good idea. So we did that one and we reviewed the episodes. Well, McMillions had aired ages ago. But we decided because Monopoly in Canada is being played, we thought we should discuss McMillions because this is the last day of the contest. Now, it's being run in Canada, the United States, and Australia. I'm not sure of any other countries.
UK, not
but it's
US.
Not being run in the United States. And we believe we know why. Well, it's been, I think, 35 years since the first scandal, but it's been 25 years since the FBI investigation, if I have my dates right.
Yeah, well, the investigation started in 2001.
Right, so close enough to 25 years.
Yes.
We're rounding up like they do with the...
I know. Can you believe it's been 25 years since this thing? And this was a big deal when it happened.
Is a big deal. And the reason I titled this episode, it's a scandal, not a scam, because I hear all the time from people, and you probably hear it too, Jason, when you tell them you enter sweepstakes, they go, that's fake. It's a scam. Well, there's a difference between a scandal and a scam. A scam is when somebody purposely goes out of their way to scam money out of you. They want to take something away from you. So there are unscrupulous people who will set up a giveaway or send messages and say, hey, you won X, click on this link, send us some payment, we'll send you the prize. Fake. You never have to pay to win a real prize. The reason the McDonald's monopoly problem was a scandal was because McDonald's was legitimately holding a sweepstakes. They were giving out the prizes. Where it became a scandal was when someone internally to the marketing agency started stealing the big pieces. And we're going to go into that. But that's what made it a scandal. McDonald's had no idea this was going on. They believed the people winning were legitimate.
None of them were. Which was
none
crazy.
of the big ticket winners were.
Right. Correct.
But there was lots of other prizes. Like there was people that won trips. There was people that won food prizes. There was people that won like secondary prizes. All those were given away.
Correct.
Or not, because we'll explain how the tickets worked. I actually worked at an ad agency for a hot minute, and they ran a giveaway with a competitor, I believe it was Wendy's, who did some peel tabs, and there is a whole security process around it and how they seed the tickets so that they go all over. And it's very secure, and that's why I'm not worried about the Canadian one. Also, it's changed back in the day. Now you can win 4 ways in the McDonald's giveaways in Canada, the US, and Australia. Sorry, UK and Australia.
Yes, right.
So first of all, you can collect all the Monopoly pieces. So if you get all 3 pieces, so if you find the 2 common and the 1 rare, you win that prize you've collected for. That's one way. The second way is you peel, you can instantly win. So there's people that have won trips, like they peel it off, they win a trip, peel it off, they win a car. So you can instantly win. They call it double play because then you can enter on your phone on McDonald's. So I can add a code. So if I peel one, let's see if I won anything. We're going to do a couple just to show people. Now, this is the last day of the giveaway. I found a McDonald's that was under construction. Hot tip. they had lots of cups still because nobody was going through because it was only drive-through. And so I won something. Oh, this is a coupon. Okay, this is a pet peeve of mine. I won a $20 photo prints promo code. This is the second one. To me, coupons are not prizes. Now, if it's stackable and I have $40, it might be okay, but coupons are not prizes. And then I got Baffin Island. I think I must own Baffin Island by now. I've had so many of these.
And like,
but you'll notice at the bottom there's a number, and then you can add the code. Actually, both of them have the code. So if I add the code, and it actually scans them this time, right? It just says I'm a winner. It recognizes it right away. And I can claim the prize. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have hit that right now, but I guess I have to. Yeah, that wasn't smart. Because if I go back, then I won't get it. Oh, well. And so then what I do is, then it gives me a wheel spin. So then every minute, they're giving away cash prizes, different kinds of things. So you can win, and they show the last 3 winners all the time on the app. This person won $50. This person won a whatever it is. And they have some other things for in-game codes and things. You know, a lot of people like to play those games that have the so here, I'll show you. If I go home, you'll see it's got lots of dollars, and it knows it's me. But recent winners, they actually have recent winners, because people say all the time to me, nobody wins. So Steve B just won $50 cash. Carla D won a $50 Walmart gift card. And Mark G won a 1-year subscription to Paramount Plus. And in the next minute, it'll change again. So they're always showing recent winners, and then they're showing all the prizes. So there's collect to win, instant win, draw prizes, instant app, new cash prize every minute. So we can do a double play. We're going to do that at the end. But that's what you do. And it says everywhere, save your game pieces, because if you win something, you have to be able to claim it and prove that you've got the piece. And then also for the food ones, like if you peel off, like you win a hamburger or something, you have to take it actually in and give it to them. So you need to have it. Now, that's how it was kind of almost, except for the, obviously the in-app feature, but the codes where you just peel were the same kind of codes back in the day. And they had to have, and they were marked so that they knew they were legitimate.
They were marked in a specific way. Like if in one of the episodes, you'll see that there was a broken letter in one of the codes, or
and it was a black light. So unless you knew what you were looking for, you weren't able to replicate it.
Right. But if we go back, just let's just sort of chronologically go back for a minute here. Someone tips off the FBI Jacksonville office in 2001, stating that there were $3 million winners that they were related in some sort of familiar way. So an agent, Doug Matthews, who I love,
I love him, but how he saw it, like he's full of piss and vinegar. I say, that old expression?
Yeah. So he's looking, because he's with this other guy named Rick Dent, who didn't want to be involved with this documentary at all. And he sees a note on his desk that says Monopoly McDonald's fraud. Now, Matthews at the time was dealing with healthcare fraud and boring stuff.
He was bored.
He was bored. So Matthews calls the tipster and he says that they were related. And that the head of this thing was a guy by the name of Uncle Jerry.
But so that's it. That's all they knew, Uncle Jerry. They didn't have any other details.
Right. So Rick Dent said, you know what? Hey, that sounds like a good idea. Takes it back. But one of the other agents, a guy by the name of Christopher Graham, calls the U.S. Attorney's Office and deals with a guy by the name of Mark Devereaux. So Mark Devereaux does the research, and this was amazing. The odds in general to win the $1 million prize were 1 in 250 million. If two relatives were there, it was a 1 in 1 quadrillion. If there were three relatives,
like insane odds. So they knew something was up.
Right. And then if it was 3 relatives, it was 306 tillion to 1. And the agent and the FBI agent said that this contest back in when it was being investigated in 2001, they're saying it was infected for years. So Devereaux is all in. So we need to find it. What they needed to find out was how could these winning pieces, how were they getting away? How deep?
Like how it was who? Like they had no idea. Was somebody at McDonald's doing this? Was McDonald's doing this? Was it like how were they getting the pieces? They didn't know. So they started to do some research, and they invited
McDonald's to be involved.
They called head of security at McDonald's and said, you just need to come to Jacksonville. Could you imagine? You're the head of security for McDonald's. The FBI phones you and said, just come to Jacksonville.
Right.
Well, first of all, you don't say no.
No, you don't.
You don't. And then they must be worried because at that point in your career, you're not an idiot. You know something's up if the FBI is calling you to come to Florida.
And what happens is they're shown the proof that something's up.
And they were shocked. Like they said, they knew McDonald's wasn't involved because every jaw basically in that room was on the floor. Like they had no clue that people were cheating. So they were really in earnest as a company wanting to use Monopoly as a fun way to connect with their customers. Because let's face it, it's a fun thing.
It was a fun thing. And here was the interesting thing about this. They had to keep it so tight and so quiet because no one knew who was involved, where was involved. And at the time the information was being shown to McDonald's, they were about to run another Monopoly game. And the FBI said, you need to run it knowing that you're not going to get a legitimate winner. And the security guy said, do we do this? Are we, because they were a brand, not a marketer at the time, because they outsourced the McDonald's promotion to a company called Simon Marketing. Now,
which, by the way, is very common that corporations don't run their own promotions. Like Coca-Cola doesn't run their own giveaways.
Right.
And sometimes, and I think because of this, there's sometimes multiple companies involved. Like when I worked at the agency, there was a contest run by Philadelphia Cream Cheese. So not just Kraft, not like it was just the cream cheese in the Kraft banner. And there was 5 agencies involved in different aspects of the giveaway. And we were doing fulfillment.
Right.
But there was somebody doing the drawing, somebody running the database, somebody doing the advertising, someone did I'm amazed that it ran well. But I think that's part of it. They split it up so that there's less likely anything to go wrong because one person doesn't hold all the keys.
And what's interesting to me is, of course, when, of course, the company is Simon Marketing, they said when they ran McDonald's, Monopoly, sales doubled during those times. And
yeah, that's the other thing that I wanted to point out. So Simon Marketing had come out with the Happy Meal. Right. They suggested that was their marketing idea. McDonald's wanted to increase sales and they created the Happy Meal idea. So then parents would bring their kids to McDonald's for this Happy Meal. And it's great because it came in a box and it's like all the bits that they need for lunch or dinner or whatever. And so now good for the whole family, but they wanted something fun for the adults.
And then they created,
and that's when they came up with the Monopoly game. And yes, sales doubled, which again proves that promotions work as a marketing tool, which is why companies hold them till today, because the bottom line of any marketing activity, including sweepstakes, but all marketing activity, is to drive sales, because sales is the only income generating arm of a company. Everything else is an expense. Now, so if you can do something like a Monopoly game to drive sales, that's what you like. Let's face it. Guess where I've been going for a month. I think it started October 4th.
Right. There you go.
Every day I'm at McDonald's.
Now, at the time in 2001, you could have asked for a piece, bought food, and pieces were seated in magazines, as we'll find out. So,
yeah, that's crazy to me, the seating. Like, I get the walking in, because by law, every purchase sweepstakes has to have a no purchase entry option.
Correct.
But the reason I do this and go and make a purchase is because by the time I take my time, write everything out, mail it in, get something back, I could have bought a cup of tea for $2 and enjoyed the tea. So for $2, and I get the points on my app. So now I can go get more McDonald's stuff for free after this giveaway. So at that point, I might as well just buy it. Right?
So eventually Holmes says, you know what? We're going to run the game. They said they owed it to the brand to find out where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they called it, because they were looking for names, because they were running a game with a show, ironically enough, around that I was involved with, called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to mention that, because what was the thing about Who Wanted to Be a Millionaire?
They were doing a similar promotion with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So what they were doing was they did something called Operation Final Answer. That's why they called it that.
Now, side note, why don't you just tell everybody what because they might not remember or have not.
Well, back 25 years ago, almost 25 years ago now, on January 4th, 2000, I appeared on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin and won $125,000 back in the day, which was so much fun. So, so Matthews, the agent Matthews, was like, I'm going to run this crazy undercover operation. He wanted to be like a spy and stuff. And Christopher Graham says, no, let's just do it this way. So what happens is we get the first winner named Michael Hoover. Okay. So,
and this current promotion. So this isn't from past promotion.
No. In the current promotion, they find the first winner, a guy by the name of Michael Hoover, was a casino worker. Right. So Matthew says, you know what? Let's try and film a TV commercial with this guy. But they needed to get approval from the special agent in charge, which was a guy by the name of Thomas Neer. And he was nervous that he got a call to the office, but he got called to the office to saying, you know what, let's do this and let's go. And they set up a production company, which I love the name of this. It was called Shamrock Productions, after the old Shamrock Shake. If you know your Shamrock.
Yeah. Now tell them what the tagline of the company was.
Because you're just lucky. I love. Okay.
I know, right?
They
set it up. It looked real. They had shirts with the company logo. They had a van with the decals. They had staff with all the camera, they had all the equipment. It looked legit. I've had camera crews come to my house to film things when my books come out and stuff.
Sure.
That looked legit. When I was
watching that, I said, you know what? They did a very good job of pretending to be a PR people. They also involved the senior director of global marketing, who was working for Monopoly 6 months at the time, a woman by the name of Amy Murray. Okay, and I thought she was a junior at the time. Now she's the head of marketing. Yeah, she was working with the Monopoly promotion for 6 months at the time of the undercover operation,
and they stuck her in there to go and be the a McDonald's representative because it was legit.
Right.
Because if they call, see, one thing I tell people, if they're worried that it's a scam, I mean, Google, well, now you can Google the person, but before you could call the company and say, hey, does so-and-so work here?
Right. Remember, this was pre-major internet. This was pre-major internet.
Yeah, this was pre
everything.
Pre-internet.
Yeah, and so the security guy wanted her to be protected, and this was very tightly controlled. Yeah. And they couldn't bring in guns. They had a backup team. They recorded everything though. But what was brilliant is that they do the reenactment as they're going into the house, and then they switch to the actual footage of Hoover's interview. Okay.
Yeah, that was cool that they released some of the real footage because it was part of an investigation. So you weren't sure if they were actually going to show anything that the FBI actually collected.
And they did. It was
cool
great
that they did some of that.
And so Hoover lies his behind off and says
no.
What?
Of course, he's lying.
Right. And he said that he won it through an People magazine ad. Okay. So some drunk idiot, while they're doing all the B-roll, grabs the big check thinking that it's a real one on the beach.
Yeah, so wait. So what happened is Matthews wanted, he's so full of piss and vinegar. He wants to push this as far as he can. So the guy says, well, I was at the beach and I had a People magazine and I dropped it. Oh yeah, we should tell people there are major spoiler alerts in here. So if you're gonna watch it, don't be disappointed. So he dropped his original one in the water,
right?
And so he threw that one away, and then on his way home, he stopped to pick up a couple of groceries, saw the magazine in the stand, thought, oh, I never read it. It got wet. I'll buy another one. Bought another one and came home, and it had a winner in it. So Matthews goes, wait, is the store here? Is it nearby? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, can you take us there? So he's getting this guy to like reenact the whole thing. So they end up at the beach.
Right.
And like the marketing woman's losing her mind. She doesn't know if this is a good idea. They had one of those big fake checks with his name and number. So they had him at the beach where supposedly the change up happened.
The incident happened.
Some kid who's just must have been, I don't know, high or drunk or something, sees the check with all the zeros. Like, it's not real. You're not cashing a 5x3 check. Sees it, comes running, grabs it, takes off down the beach.
Right, and of course they eventually.
Matthews have to go tackle him.
Yes, the Matthews had to go tackle him. So, but everybody was really happy with the footage. But what was even better was they got level 3 wiretapping on the phone, and as soon as the interview was over, Hoover calls a guy by the name of Andrew Glom, who was a drug trafficking record, and says, idiots, they fell for it. So Devereaux calls Matthews, and then on the wiretap, they confirm that it's rigged. And Matthews was like, we know nothing. We don't know how far this gets. And
yeah, that's the problem, because he said, I wrote this down as I was reviewing the episode, because I saw this ages ago and I loved it.
Yes.
But he said, we don't know the wait, I wrote it out. He said, we're looking to figure out the how, the what, the where, and the who. So they know what's happening, but those are the questions. How is this being done? What is the process of this? Where are the pieces going? And who is doing it? It's crazy.
So on the wiretap, they said, you don't want to make Uncle Jerry upset. And at the end of episode 1, they start going through common phone numbers that were in the activity of this winter. And they found out a guy by the name of Uncle Jerry, a guy by the name of Jerry Jacobson or Jerome Jacobson, who just happened to be the head of security at Simon Marketing. Dun, dun, dun!
Dun, dun, dun. End episode 1.
Right.
Okay, so now we go to episode 2, and the opening is crazy because someone anonymously sent. Now, I'm not sure why. Did they ever explain why they did that?
We we might find that out later. You know what I mean?
No, because I don't remember that, because I only watched. Okay, so I saw the whole series when it first came out.
Right.
In 2020.
2020. It was produced by Mark
2020. It came out.
This was pandemic stuff back then.
Right, and it was great because we were glued to the TV.
Right.
And then. So I saw it then, but of course we decided to do the show because I was going to McDonald's, and Jason and I talk all the time on Facebook Messenger. And so we were discussing McDonald's, and we said, we got to talk about this. So of course I haven't seen it in 4 years. So I thought I'm going to rewatch it. So I only watched the first 3 episodes to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
So I can't remember what happens after the first 3.
You know, we're going to have to
I kind of know, but someone sent anonymously $1 million winning ticket to the a children's hospital,
St. Jude's.
St. Jude's,
which is by the way, which is here in the United States.
It's in Philadelphia, isn't it?
No, it's in Tennessee. It's all over the United States. I believe it's a.
No, I know the location that got it.
I don't remember the location per se, but I will say this: but it made worldwide news.
Yeah, it made worldwide news. Then it cuts to McDonald's. Okay, so now they're explaining how McDonald's monopoly started. And in the United States, it started in 87.
Right. Yep.
But then they're like, okay, so it started in 87. How long has it been fixed?
Right.
Not as long as that. There's a spoiler right there.
Right.
It was not fixed from the start.
But then we're introduced to Jerome Jacobson's stepbrother named Marvin Braun. And he was the first person to be involved in the scam. He cashed in a
scandal,
25.
Not scam, scandal.
Scandal. Sorry, scandal. My apologies. Scandal. He got a $25,000 ticket and cashed it and split it with Jerry. Okay. And according to Jerry, Marvin didn't know how it was done. So Jerry was on wiretap. Jerome Jacobson.
Mm-hmm.
In the late 1970s, he was a police officer in Hollywood, Florida, who used, shall we say, questionable methods to solve cases, including psychics, etc. We also meet a woman by the name of Marcia Derbyshire. We'll get to her in a minute. In 1981, Jerry is diagnosed with a rare muscular disease called Guillain-Barré.
Yeah, that's kind of horrible.
Right. But he moves to Monopoly in Atlanta to deal with his MS/Guillain-Barré. And in 1982, he gets a job in Simon Marketing for the Monopoly promotions. Okay. So
I thought he was just the head of security, period. And he happened to also do the Monopoly promotion.
Yeah. He was the head of security, but he was part of the security. Okay. So, the FBI has to be careful with this because the attorney finds McDonald's and Simon didn't really know each other. Now, Carolyn.
Yeah, so then what happens is they're looking for Jerry's. So Marcia was Jerry Jacobson's ex-wife.
Right.
And it took him almost a year to heal. Like he was not, this wasn't he was diagnosed and now he's working at Simon Marketing. So now he couldn't be a police officer because he was ill.
Right.
Like obviously he left the force. And that was one thing when you're applying for jobs and they want to know why you left the police force, but it was pretty obvious he couldn't be a police officer, but his skills could be used in a corporate setting and it's less taxing than the police force. So he was able to work, but obviously not as a police officer. So he got that job based on his police background. But as the FBI is sorting through things, they discover another Jerry Colombo. Now they're like, is Uncle Jerry Jacobson or is Uncle Jerry Colombo?
Now, but let's just back up just a little bit here.
Okay.
Because McDonald's went because there was because they're in the investigation, they found out that the company was using a company called the Dittler Brothers outside of Atlanta to print all the tickets and print all the process. And we meet their crew, and we actually see sort of how the security was tight. A 2-lock winner's vault, cameras, seals. It looked like there was an independent auditor, multiple winners, and we saw how the high-level winners were seated and verified, right? But here's the kicker. Marcia, his ex-wife, just happened to be the head of security for Dittler Brothers from 1987 to 2000. Okay? She claimed that
but she worked at the police force, I thought, first, and that's where she met him.
Well, she met him in the police force, yes. But eventually they moved to Atlanta together, and she got a job as the security for the printing company that did all the pieces. And now it's so cool to see how they did all the printing and allegedly did all the printing. And of course they're also
they really do that printing that way. Like when I worked on the McDonald's thing, they actually had the account manager had the seated pieces. She had to fly to the place. It was locked in a thing. Everything was sealed, just like you saw on TV.
Right.
They still do that. That doesn't change. Like it's very highlighted. And it's probably like even more secure now than it was back then.
It's much more secure now. And talking about Jerry Colombo for a minute. So Uncle Jerry Jacobson says, he can go bigger. So Marvin goes to New York because he flew there every week. And he approaches people to get in the scheme. And as you said, one of the people who got involved was Jerry Colombo from the Colombo crime family. Now, to explain what a crime family is, back in the day, there were 5 big mafia crime families in New York: the Colombos, the Genoveses, and a few others. So Jerry Colombo won, in quotes, a Dodge Viper. Okay, and then we get to meet some of the relatives of Jerry Colombo. Frank, his brother, and Heather, his sister, his wife.
No, and then of course Jerry's wife is Robin.
Right, but Heather is Frank's wife.
Oh, sorry. Heather is the brother. So the brother is Frank, and he's married to Heather.
Right.
And we see them interviewed together. And then Robin, Jerry Colombo's wife, is interviewed.
And she's
also the daughter.
Right. Jennifer Etheridge. She was her stepdaughter. Robin claimed that I love this because I met John Walsh in this promotion. Robin claimed to have the gray M&M in the gray M&M promotion and supposedly promised her a Publishers Clearinghouse win. I don't know how real that was.
No, I thought he had promised her $1 million winning McDonald's piece when she turned 18.
That was her daughter. Robin claimed the wife claimed that she had the gray M&M.
Oh, right? Yeah, and it wasn't in the freezer, and they weren't allowed to eat it. No one eat this.
Right, exactly. So
it just sounds so bad.
Yeah, I know. So Frank Colombo claims that there was a pipeline to a mafioso named Uncle Dominic in New York to Jerry Jacobson to Jerry Colombo. So there was a mob connection. Okay.
I know, it already sounds scary. Like if you're the FBI and you're investigating this and you suddenly start to find a mob collection, you're like, oh my gosh, how deep does this go?
Right. So then Uncle Dominic dies, and then it's Jerry Colombo to Jerry Jacobson. Direct combination. There's a direct line there, and they become partners. Okay. So back in 2001, okay, we're going back now to the present day at the time. So the Hoover interview makes the investigation bigger. However, the wiretap doesn't really bring much. But Matthews, with a great, I love this idea, says, okay, let's bring all the winners to Vegas for a reunion so we can get them all together and get their stories together. But the other agent says, well, let's do it this way. And this is sort of similar to something, if you remember, you know how you get people to pay parking tickets and you promise them like a free TV or, you know, the arrest warrants, if you ever see them on Cops.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Okay. So she says, wait, maybe if you promise the trip, but record the winners' stories, it might work. So all the winners were down, like, yeah, let's retell the stories, which improves the evidence of the case. So I love this. Doug Astrolaga, who was an FBI agent and the lighting guy, knew nothing about lighting. He was great. He knew nothing about the lighting. But I love this. Okay. So Devereaux explains, oh, is this entrapment? And he goes, no. And I love this definition.
Yeah, this is important.
Okay.
So it's not entrapment because
they had already lied to Simon Marketing before the FBI got involved. They committed the crime before the FBI got involved. The legal definition of entrapment, which they showed on the screen, is the action of tricking someone into committing a crime to secure their prosecution, which would have meant, let's just say, if McDonald said, hey, Jason, we're going to let you have the $1 million ticket if you, we're going to let you have the $1 million ticket. And then the FBI says, ha, you're arrested for committing fraud. It was a tricking of a prosecution. None of these people did that because they made a choice on their own to commit the crime before the FBI got involved. And they were looking for, again, the how, the what, the where, and the how. Okay. So we get to see another beautiful video from Buddy Fisher, who won $1 million. Who had no idea to explain how he won the ticket. He was sweating so bad. And by the way, do you know why he lied? Because he was the father of Robin Colombo.
Yeah, that's right. He was her dad.
Right.
And
because Buddy said, you know what? I want the money too. Okay. I want it, so they gave it to him. Of course, he couldn't tell his story. So,
but it ends with a crazy story, that episode.
Right.
So now they're all in Vegas, but then the brother-in-law.
No, they're not in Vegas. They're in Indiana. They're in Jacksonville. They never went to Vegas. They went to Jacksonville.
No, I thought they still had the idea for the Vegas reunion.
No. It was the Vegas reunion was fake. It was a promise to get to the people to do all the stories.
So I thought they actually took them all. How did I miss that? I thought they actually took them to Vegas, filmed all the stories. No, they did
not at all. It was a promise of a trip to Vegas. Okay. So go on.
And, I said I wrote down in my notes, but the brother-in-law, he didn't want anything to do with it. So Jerry hands him a $25,000 winning ticket.
No, $1 million ticket.
$1 million. Oh, I thought it was $25,000.
No,
and he went over to the bathroom and he flushed it.
Right. And Marvin said he thought it was over. And of course, Marcia claims that she would have told on him if she knew. I think she might have known. I don't know. I'm not,
Well, here's the thing. One of the questions I wrote down that wasn't talked about was because Jerry got sick, did it make him bolder? Did he care? Did he care less?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, when you're facing death, like, he could have died. So when you get that, hey, life is short, does he go,
well, that's
I'm
what
going to
she
throw
claimed.
all caution to the wind because life is short. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Marcia claimed that the disease changed him.
So she should have changed him, but did it make him bolder? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you suddenly get a different attitude to life where, hey, this is short. I'm just going to.
It's possible, but the story ends where the special agent in charge claims that Jerome Jacobson sent the ticket to St. Jude's. Okay. And as we go to episode 3.
Yeah. Now, hang on. We just want to say something. They did say, was that at the beginning of episode 3 that McDonald made good
2.
on the ticket? So technically, the hospital couldn't claim the prize.
But McDonald's gave
them.
But
McDonald's is not going to say no to a children's hospital.
Nope.
And also, the amount of publicity, good publicity, that McDonald's got was, they couldn't have paid $1 million for all that TV time.
Indeed.
And I'm betting dollars to donuts that because it was a charitable donation, they got to write that whole $1 million off their books. So not only did they get all the free PR, they got to write it. It was a tax write-off. So it was a win-win for McDonald's to go, you know what? We're going to give you that $1 million.
Again, companies do that now more often than, but back then it was a bigger deal.
Yeah, back then it was a bigger deal because that was, again, when there was no social. Companies can do stuff now and it can go viral on TikTok or YouTube
Instagram
or something.
or YouTube or anything in seconds.
Right, but not then. Then if you got that kind of PR, it was across the radio, the newspaper, and the TV. That was it.
Right, and it was a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
So in episode 3, Robin said that she claims that she picked the winners and gave them to friends. Okay. So she gives them friends. But now, what was interesting is that we get another reunion video and a woman by the name of Gloria Brown, an African-American woman from Jacksonville, Florida, who claimed she was in South Carolina. But she got the heebie-jeebies and she felt something was up. Okay.
Yeah, she knew that the interview, like when they called her for the interview, she's like, something is up. Her gut or her spidey senses, as George likes to call them, my boyfriend George, he calls them spidey senses. Her spidey senses were on point.
Right. And, she signed photos. She did little advertising bits. Matthews kept pushing. But she knew what was going on. So, but
she said the other guy, the lighting guy, what was his name? He was she was like this. Everyone else is excited. And she's like, yeah, I just went to the place and I picked it. Like, she did not want to give anything.
And there was more evidence coming in, but they were going, they still didn't know how was Uncle Jerry doing this. Okay.
Yeah, how was it? And he worked with what was her name, Miss Bennett?
Yeah. They surveilled a CPA named Hilda Bennett. Was she involved?
Right, because that's part of the security. Like, 2 people go all the time, and he's got the pieces in a locked attaché case.
Right.
And they're in envelopes that are sealed. Right. With not just sealed, but sticker sealed.
Right. And signed.
Like, you secure, like, to break through all of that to replace the stickers is crazy, which we still don't see how in this episode, but just to give you the level of security, even back then.
Okay. So Frank claims to have seen Jerome Jacobson once in Atlanta, and that Jerry Colombo was in control of distributing the tickets. So that, let's say, for example, $1 million ticket was $50,000 to Uncle Jerry and $500,000 to Jerry Colombo.
Which means the winner, quote, winner takes $450 home.
Right, correct.
Before taxes.
Yes, but again, yes.
So but they have to pay the taxes on $1 million.
Right. So, Uncle, and of course, Frank also claimed that there was $1 million ticket in the fridge for him to be a wedding gift, allegedly. Uncle Jerry was calling Robin 3 times a week with instructions. Okay. And the thing expanded to like brother-in-laws, friends. It was massive, including a woman named Lee Casano, who was given $100,000 ticket just because she was a hot Italian woman, according to Jerry Colombo, right? So, and she wins in Philadelphia.
Yeah, because wasn't she an airline steward?
She was an airline stewardess for Northwest Airlines at the time, right? But Robin noticed something very interesting, that the Italian men were being stupid by picking just Italians from the East Coast. So Robin was like, you know what? We should bring in some women and maybe a woman of color into it. So she involves a woman named Gloria Brown Buyer.
Yeah, now they were friends.
And they were friends.
They were friends. I bet you Gloria's regretting that friendship.
Could be. She was a single parent, and Robin called her after years apart in 1997. And once she got in there, it was over because Jerry wouldn't let them alone. Jerry explained the plot, and she was making $24,000 a year, and she just thought it was a blessing. Now, unfortunately, Jerry asked for upfront money, and she mortgaged the house. She felt she was being ripped apart. She was ripped apart. Now, I'm going to go back to something. I don't want to talk about the strip club, necessarily.
Yeah, there's a spoiler. There's a strip club involved.
Right. So Gloria,
it's crazy. Yeah. Like, I can't believe that this is still only a documentary, and nobody has made a movie about it yet.
There are rumors to effect that there was going to be a movie, but it never.
Right, like the Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's production company. I can't remember what it's called. They optioned the movie rights,
but it hasn't been made yet.
Documentary was done by Mark Wahlberg's production company.
Correct. So I mean, this would make a great movie. This would really make a great movie.
I know, right? Like, how is this not a movie? It's insane. Like, when I first read the article in I can't remember what publication. I have a link to it on my blog. The story is so crazy that if I came to you, Jason, and said, you're a production house, and I said, I have an idea for a movie, and I laid this out to you, you'd go, that's insane. That would never happen.
And it did.
But life is crazier than anything anybody can come up with.
So Gloria, they have to get a South Carolina address. She was coached on so many things, but she knew her life was in danger and her son was in danger too. She knew she was trapped. They get to the chosen McDonald's, okay? And it happens. She claims the ticket. And Jerry was pissed because it took too long. Jerry Colombo, okay?
Yeah, like he can't control how long some of these things take.
Right. So we actually see the documents, and when I saw the folder, I was like, yep, sweepstakes people with letters and all that stuff. So the deal was Jerry got $25,000 for the first.
Sorry, you should explain that Gloria in the interviews has a folder in front of her, and she kept all the paperwork.
Right, I'm sorry.
Like a sweeper would if we won a big prize. Okay, go ahead.
So Jerry got $25,000 for the first 5 years. Okay, her mortgage goes up because she mortgaged from $300 to $1,000 a month. However, she didn't remember about the tax part, and unfortunately, she lost a lot of that. And so Jerry Colombo reported to Uncle Jerry about everything, and Gloria was like, I don't want to do ads. I don't want to do marketing. And to keep her in line, Jerry Colombo told her that Uncle Jerry was in a marketing event in New York where she met Sherman Hemsley. She was told she did great. I don't believe he was even there. I think that was a scare tactic, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree.
She was numb about this. And Lee Casano never really got any of the money. She never got much of it because it went from Jerry to Jacobson, and she probably got about $1.50 from all that money that was never there. But here was the interesting thing about Jerry Colombo. Jerry and Robin were not exactly the model couple. They were a, shall we say, fiery company, fiery.
That is such an understatement.
Yeah, they had a son, but Robin was not happy. They had a lot of fights. She wanted to leave, but of course, being the mafia guy that he was, he threw her money, he threw her cars. So he opens up a club in South Carolina called the Fuzzy Bunny, which was a strip club.
Of course a mob guy's going to have a strip club.
Right. So, of course, the county and Jerry butt heads. Robin thought it was a way to meet women because he was auditioning them, so to speak. So she punches him, calls her parents, and then says, if you don't hear from me, call the FBI and say Jerry Jacobson is the guy involved with this. Jacobson said, I want to marry you. Of course, she throws that in Jerry Colombo's face, which was
wasn't good.
That wasn't good. So then Jerry Colombo and Uncle Jerry have a falling out. But as we end episode 3, Jerry Colombo, Robin Colombo, and the Frankie are driving down the road, and there is a massive car crash. We don't know who, what, or why.
Yeah, we don't find out. Now, we're not going to give any more because we're going to come back on Friday and do episodes 4, 5, and 6 because it was a 6-parter.
This is a 6-parter.
And that was such a shocker to me because I did not expect that. So first of all, this whole thing has so many twists and turns in real life. Remember that you are glued to your TV. Then episode 3 comes and there's a massive car crash at the end. And you're like, what? It ends on the car crash. I mean, they did such a good job telling this story, this documentary. The other thing that people might not realize that I talk about on my blog is that I discovered there's a podcast. There's a matching podcast.
Yes.
And every episode that aired, because originally it aired once a week, it wasn't binged. So every week they were dropping another episode of this podcast. The podcast was an hour, same as the show. Like each episode was an hour.
It's sort of like bonus footage, right? Sort of like
kind of like bonus, but it's just sound. There's no picture.
No video.
And they interview a different person, like on each episode. So there's 6 different people they talk to, that were part of this story, that were in the.
Right, I'm checking it out. I'm trying.
So it's really good. Now I listen to it on Spotify, but it's on all of the. If you just look up McMillion's podcast, they'll all.
Right. Yes, it's about a half hour each.
Half hour? Why do I think it was an hour? But it's so good. They're so good. Like you have to, I highly recommend listening to them because what I did was, at the time, lockdown was here, and to get fresh air, right? The gyms were closed. Everything was closed. I would go on walks outside just to breathe fresh air, get sunshine.
Right.
And because everything was closed. And I would put my earbuds in and listen to podcasts while I walked. It was great. And one of those ones I did was the McMillions. So here I am watching the show and glued to the podcast. It was so good.
Right. And for example, in I'm looking at the podcast now, pardon me. In episode 1, they interview Chris Graham. In episode 2, they interview Robin Colombo. In episode 3, they interview Gloria Brown again, and and it's 7 episodes, and it's really I have to listen to the podcast. I have to actually.
You haven't listened to it yet? Oh, it's so good. I really liked it because they talk about different things than what you see on the documentary. But again, I can't believe it's not a movie yet. Like, honestly, like, Hollywood is starving for good ideas.
This is
I want this already. Like, where's the film?
Well, it's also very interesting, but I think because we got about 5 minutes left here. I think you should
we can talk a little more. I mean, the thing doesn't shut off at the hour mark.
Oh no, it doesn't. Oh great. No,
I just tried not to, because I just said we only want to do 20 minutes an episode because Jason and I can talk, and we can. This could end up being a 3-hour episode, which is as long as the show if we didn't be careful.
Well, I have an interesting question for you because after watching episode 3, and one of the things that a lot of the people were asking in the FBI was asking, why would they do this? Why?
Okay, I can tell you why. And this is what frustrates me. And it was in the article, but it wasn't in the documentary.
Okay.
Okay. And there is a dark side to the sweepstakes hobby that I don't like to talk about, because really I know people that have won literally millions of dollars in cash and prizes.
We all do. I've been doing this for 30 years.
Multiple cars. Like, you've won well over 100,000. Like, there's lots of prizes, legitimate prizes out there to be won.
Yep.
I mean, I think, didn't you go to Europe? You went to London?
I have been to Spain. I've been to London. I've been to Holland. I've been to the Super Bowl.
Right, like legitimate wins.
Legitimately on. Like I said, I have been doing this as a hobby since 1992. I believe.
I know, like 10 years before me.
Okay, and I've been doing this, and I've done local radio contests. And what's the interesting thing is that, and what I'm doing now, and I can sort of say this. I'm not going to say who I work for, but I'm involved with a sweepstakes agency that I'm involved with multiple multinational promotions worldwide. Okay.
Right. You're like an assistant.
I'm an assistant to this thing. So I know how the sausage is made. And I know how
just like me. You work for one agency, right, as an assistant, and I get hired by multiple agencies to help with giveaways. So or sponsors directly. Like, some sponsors have hired me directly when they're smaller companies.
I remember specifically the first time I found out how the sausage was made, and it was way back when I was working in college, like after college in 1991. I had a temporary summer job, believe it or not, at a judging agency. But what I did was that I did all the data entry. Back then it was data entry for people.
I know, right? How times have changed.
Right. You know, instead of like RoboForm, people actually sent in cards and forms, and I had to enter all this information.
Oh my God.
You know, but that's how I discovered.
Actually, I've done that as a marketer in the early days of my marketing. I've done that too. It's an awful job. It's so tedious.
Right. It was. I actually found out sweepstakes newsletters, they existed, and I got copies of. Let me age myself here. Denny and Les sweepstakes profiles and contest newsletter.
Wow. Now there's a documentary hosted by Contest Newsletter that I have on my YouTube channel, and it's done in the 80s, so you can tell by the hair and the clothes.
Oh wow. But here's the interesting thing. When in this documentary, we get to see how secure this sweepstakes was.
Yeah.
And at this point, we're like, how do we know? How does the break?
They know Jerry's in doing it, but they still can't figure out how, because it is so secure. We'll find that out later. So you'll have to come back to find out.
And by the way,
I didn't finish. My point was, so you and I both know how the sausage is made, as they say, because we both worked. I mean, I remember being so excited when I first got this job at the agency as a contest manager.
Right.
I was so excited to see the proprietary software they used to do all the winners and stuff.
Right.
No, it was spreadsheets and random.org. And I'm like, seriously? This is the proprietary software? But we had to screenshot it and everything. So and you always drew a winner and so many backups. So if they had one grand prize winner and 10 first place winners, we would draw 50 names.
Right.
And the first one, and we do like 10. Then you wait to hear if you hear back, and then you go to the next one. And yeah, but it was all screenshotted and then saved. So if the client ever came back and said, hey, we don't have the spreadsheet, we would line color everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Right. We did all that. Backup 1, backup 2, backup 3. Like we'd label everything. Everything was PDF'd. Everything was saved. So there was no question as to the legality of what we did. It really was random.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. I was so disappointed. But here's the thing. So Jerry, being the head of security for Simon Marketing, was in the room when 2 account managers were doing the random draws to see where the winning pieces would be seated.
That may be a little spoiler for next time, per se.
No, because it's not in the documentary.
Okay.
It's only in the article. So they're doing this drawing, and he's watching. Now, at that point, that McDonald's monopoly was open to Canada and the US. It was both our countries. And one of the grand prize million pieces was supposed to go, I think, to Saskatoon. And they said, oh, a Canadian's not going to win. And they redrew, which is illegal according to the official rules.
Was it legal or was it illegal?
Illegal, I said.
Okay.
So they're breaking their own rules. And I bet you if McDonald's heard what they had done, McDonald's would have fired the company immediately. Because McDonald's wouldn't put up with those shenanigans, but they don't know. And the minute Jerry saw that, he thought, this is rigged. And that's when he decided to start stealing pieces. Because he thought, well, if it's rigged, I might as well get in on the game. So it was those 2 people that remain unnamed and not talked about in the documentary as to why Jerry made the decision to cheat. And he was sick. He had already been sick at this point, remember?
Right.
So he knows how short life can be. So he's like, now he has less caution to the wind, so to speak. Yeah. He's bolder. He's not worried about things anymore because he's like, life is short. I'm going out in a ball of flames. Why not? Right. And that's when he decides to steal the pieces. But then this is where we come in, is at this point. So they haven't got far enough to figure out that how he's doing it yet. That comes up in the next episodes.
Yes, and we will definitely figure that.
I think from memory, episode 4 is they figure out how he do it, but I know they also go to court.
I will just say this without having to get back. How he does it it's insane that particular thing happened. If you understand what I mean.
Well, it's so crazy. First of all,
without spoiling, of course.
Yeah, without spoilers, it's crazy that he can even do it. But here's what we'll do. We'll do this just before we go.
Okay.
We'll see if I want anything else, because it ends tonight at midnight. So I have to enter these codes and spin. Lake Athabasca is the other place I must own in Canada for the number of pieces I had. I won something else. Small fountain drink.
Yay!
So I have 2 winners.
Good.
2 winners tonight.
Good.
So I have a few. I have to put in those, and actually that other one, I have another spin.
Okay.
Session time. Oh. Okay, so let's do one more spin too. Where are we at here? So I have the spin because I added those codes. So I hit double play.
Right.
And it says 1 day left to peel, but it says double play will end on November 4th.
That's today.
It's the 4th. So even though it says 1 day, there's not really a day. There's like 3 hours left. I'm surprised they don't have a countdown. Okay, so let's peel now. What do we get?
We get
anything?
I can't say.
Just another entry. So I've been dividing them. Okay, so now I'll have $22 in for the 22 entries in for the cash. And then my other ones, I have one instantly, but I haven't won any of the cash prizes. I've won 1,000 in points.
Okay.
And then on the pull-offs, I won twice. I won 4,000 points. So I've won 9,000 points, which is basically with all the points that I was collecting for getting all the food. I can go have a free meal at McDonald's.
I am definitely going to listen to the podcast, but I'm also going to check out the final 3 episodes, and you should too.
Yeah, because we have 3 days. So if you haven't watched it, you can catch up.
By the way, in the United States, it's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
If you have the service, check it out there. Just put in the McMillions.
McMillions. And I think you can rent it on Prime.
I'd have to look.
I don't remember. I think you can. Anyway, take a look at it. It's really good. But the podcast is free. So even if you don't have HBO, you can go listen to the podcast.
Yes, just go to your podcast app and put in McMillions. McMillions is what you're looking for.
Yeah, McMillions. So unfortunately, next time we meet, I won't have this, but depending on when they do the draw, I can tell you if I won anything. I
hope so too. I'm also looking forward to this because we could also talk in the next thing. Could it happen here again? Could it come back?
No, I don't think. Oh, could McDonald's come back to the States?
We'll find
now,
out.
Here's a question I wanted to ask you because I forgot. What does McDonald's do in the States now for games? Do they do anything?
They don't really. They have the McDonald's.
Nothing.
They don't really. They do certain promotions that they do through the app and daily entries online. Because I've tried to enter, I haven't won anything for McDonald's per se.
Yeah, because 1 year they did it where if you ordered on the app, because they were getting you to order on the app. If you ordered on the app, you were automatically entered into a daily draw.
Right, but right now there is no collect and win. There's nothing like this promotion. And
wow, I'm shocked that they didn't come up with something else to replace
I remember that they tried to do it with the online portion like years later, but I think that the McDonald's Monopoly promotion was so damaged after.
Yeah, but I'm saying there could have been something else that they came up with, like anything.
I agree with you.
Like in Canada, the other we have Tim Hortons. It's very similar to Dunkin'.
That's the roll the cup up. We have it here.
Yeah, we have roll. They called it. It used to be called roll up the rim to win. So you'd get a cup and it would have a thing, and you'd roll it up, and it was hard. And then 1 year it got delayed. We had snowstorms here, and so it wasn't as successful as they wanted. So then they delayed it the next year so that we'd be more out of snow season.
Right.
And that's when the pandemic hit.
Right.
So even though people could go through the drive-thru and get coffee and stuff, no one wanted to touch the cups because what happened is a lot of people would do this with their teeth to roll it up because it's hard.
Right.
And then they'd rip it off or use their teeth to rip it off. And then they would hand it to the cashier to get their free coffee or whatever. Yeah. During the global pandemic, no one wants to touch that stuff. So they scrapped it and came right away with the roll up to win. They made it an app, like a game on their app. And
well,
now they're not bringing back the
here's
cup.
something very interesting, and I'm looking it up now because I just I'm looking at the UK version of this that they just ended a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they actually have the number of prizes claimed.
Yeah, I think it's actually I think they have that on this app too. Here, let me show you. Remember, I showed you that they were showing the different drawings. So if I go here, so here's more real winners. Somebody else won $50 cash. Lynn won $50 things engraved. Somebody won a Vanassi gift card, $100 cosmetics. Like they changed. But so if I do the collect to win,
right,
it shows me like the Equinox, 3 are claimed. It was 5 in total, collect to win.
Right.
So the other 2 pieces were probably thrown away. Nobody claimed the Polaris. It was 4. 1 out of 6 trips to Nassau. $25,000 cash. 5 were available. 1 was claimed.
Wow.
1 was claimed out of 5 for vanilla gift cards. 13 out of 27 for shopping sprees at Leon's.
What's Leon's?
2 out of 4. Leon's is a furniture store.
Okay.
So you can get like $10,000 to get you some nice furniture for your house. Or appliances. $2,000 Hudson Bay gift card. It's like a Macy's. 2 out of 4. Avion travel rewards, which is basically it's 5 million points or $50,000 cash, 0 claimed.
Wow.
Universal theme park, 3 out of 15 claimed. And that was the collect to win. But like, see the instant win on the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Ganesh Impact Primograms in-game code pack. Like you have to be playing that game.
Right.
4,000 out of 14,000 collected.
Well, so,
right?
so it's but you know what? These
are peel and wins. So like, for example, the Leon's laundry pair, 7 out of 10.
Right. But what I'm saying to you, Carolyn, is that I think that this contest changed.
Probably for this one, Sunwing Vacation for 2, 19 out of 25 claimed.
Okay. But what you're seeing is more transparency. And this contest helped transparency, you know?
Yeah. So then there's instant win in-app prizes.
Right.
But here's what's crazy. The instant prizes in the apps, like what we just did.
Right.
Like there was $25 McDonald's Michael's gift cards. Only 1,600 of the 1,900 were claimed. So there's still 300 they didn't give away.
Wow. Okay.
And then food ones instantly. A lot of those are claimed, but still not all. And cash per minute. Now this blows me away. 33,920 out of 50,730 available. So there's basically 17,000 cash prizes that were never claimed.
Well, but
then
again,
there's the draw prizes. There's only 1 of each.
Right.
But it's crazy to me that, like, for example, the $50,000. So where are the 6 tickets? Probably in a bin.
Right.
Because people, you know what I think people do? They get the cup and they don't peel. They go, nobody ever wins.
But, and in a way, this documentary still shows that attitude is still around. I don't know if McDonald's is ever going to truly recover.
No, I think that's not a McDonald's issue. I think that's a sweepstakes issue. People don't enter because they think nobody wins or they will never win.
Right.
So they're why am I going to bother? I'm not going to win.
The attitude of people since as long as I've known it, and before we've known it, and afterward, everyone.
Thank you very much. I will think of you while I'm lying on the beach on my next trip win.
Exactly. Like, it's sad, but you know what? More for us, more for the sweepers.
Well, I think that's what used to happen more with roll up to the rim when it was on the cups, and the cups would get thrown away. But I think it wins. But I think now that it's online, more people do collect the prizes.
But again, that's also due to the shift of sweepstakes.
But still, we just looked at the numbers. So the collect to wins or the instant wins on the parts.
Yeah, I mean, not many
collect to win means people had to get 3 pieces, right?
Right.
And there's still 2 cars that will never be given away. Now, how these work is the company doesn't spend the money on the prizes like the cars until it's over. Because they're not pre-buying 5 cars if they only end up giving away 1.
Correct.
They only buy the car once it's done.
Yes, like for example, let's say for argument's sake, a company is giving away 100 65-inch TVs. Let's just say.
Right.
And let's just say 50 of them are claimed and or won or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the company, whatever it is.
The company will buy 50 65-inch TVs as versus to 100 and have them in the warehouse. They used to do that. They don't do it now. I think they used to.
No, they don't do it now. And sometimes they even offer cash option. Depends on the sweepstakes. Again, you got to read the official rules.
Right.
And again, cash options are available, like that one where it says 5 million Avion points for travel, or $50,000. So you have the option.
Yes, exactly. And
right?
And there are
the other thing is, I bet you there's codes that aren't even used, because here's the other thing. I went yesterday to McDonald's, got a tea. They were out of cups. And they already had the Christmas cups. And then a lot of times you ask them for the extra code. So if they make a wrong order, like you order a coffee with 2 cream, 2 sugar, and they screw it up, they will fix your order. But that cup, they don't throw it away. They thump out the coffee, they cut off the codes and stick them in a cup. So when they run out of cups before, or packages or whatever, before the contest ends, and you say, oh, I have a regular package, can I get a code? They reach into this cup and pull the ones that were kind of not used, but mishandled order, like a mistake order. So they hand you, just like I got this I got a Coke Zero, and it was a regular cup, and we're like, do you have codes? And she reached into the cup and handed us this.
Well,
so I got them, but the McDonald's I went to 2 days before was under construction. I didn't realize, because I went to do the option.
Yep.
And it said drive through only. And I'm like, what is happening? And then I realized it was under construction. So when I went through and he handed me the cup that had codes on it, I said, oh, you guys still have codes? He goes, oh yeah, we have lots. So I'm like, oh, because only the drive-throughs opened. Hardly anybody's going there.
So, and the thing is,
then I realized, so today I made George drive. We had to go out, and I made him drive to that McDonald's and go through the drive-through
to get
2 drinks, because I'm like, I'm on live tonight. I need to have.
Well,
and so we went, and they had the cups. So what if there is like 10 sleeves of cups left over? They scrap them. There could be one of the cars in that lot that just never got handed out.
And there are probably lots of sleeves that are all over Canada not used.
Yeah, not just that location, but that's one of the options as to why some of the stuff didn't get claimed, is that there's 2 places it is. It's either it never got bought, or it's been binned.
One question about this, and then I think we'll end it here. In Canada, how many times a year do they run it? Once or twice?
Once.
Okay, so this was a big deal. Okay.
Yeah, it's every fall, and I know this because I do my own accounting. Like I set it all up. I do the folders, I do the expense reports, I do everything. I get it all set up, and I take this big box to my accountant and I go here, and they input everything and make it look pretty. So because I'm doing my own books, I know when it's what contest. Because in like March, I'm just shopping at Tim Hortons because there's all these Tim Hortons receipts. And I write them off because I talk about sweepstakes as part of my business. So I think, well, if I'm doing a story every day about me pulling McDonald's tabs on social media, I'm writing it off because as a marketing expense.
Right. There you go.
So, I know when the contests are because, suddenly I'm eating here, then I'm eating here, then I'm eating there. It's just like you can see when I'm at Starbucks or Tim Hortons or McDonald's, and you can tell when the giveaways are.
Well, it's also good. Yeah, it's also going to be very interesting to see when we come back on Friday how McDonald's handles this and what the solution is.
Yeah, what the solution is.
And believe me, when you guys hear how Jerry did this, you're going to be blown away.
I'm still blown away, and I've seen it twice.
How simple this was, and how
no more spoiler alerts. We're going to sign off now that it was left on a car accident, and just crazy.
And we'll be back Friday around the same time.
Yeah, Friday around 8. I'll send out the link tomorrow.
Absolutely, I can't wait. I can't wait to be back. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe I win something from McDonald's by then. Fingers crossed. You never know what you're going to win, as Tom Cavalli likes to say.